What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at Argomon. And I'll tell you something for nothing, ladies and gentlemen. There is a new Argomon coming, and this new Argomon looks so good. And it's also worth pointing out that Argomon is seeing a whole bunch of play over in Japan at the moment. And green is very good, and Argomon really is at the center of it. So Argomon then, what do we see? Well, we got a 13 cost to play normally, which is expensive for a level 6, no way around it. We've got a 4 cost to Digivolve, which again is expensive for a level 6, no way around it. And 11,000 power, which is standard for a level 6. So essentially what we're doing here is we're playing a card that has got no real advantage in terms of power, but is very weak in terms of cost, very high. So there needs to be something in the skills here, and oh my goodness, there is. Now, firstly, it's got Digisorption -2 as a skill, which means that when you Digivolve into it, you may suspend one of your Digimon to reduce the evolution cost by 2. So it's then a 2 cost to Digivolve. And I find this kind of funny because the Argomon we've previously seen is a 5 cost to Digivolve, which of course is more expensive, but that's got Digisorption -3, so if you use Digisorption it comes down to a 2 cost, so essentially if you use Digisorption they're both 2 cost, which I find a little bit weird that they've bothered to lower the evolution cost, but then also lower the Digisorption. That just seems weird to me, alright? That just seems weird to me. I'm a little bit confused. Doesn't really matter though, does it? Now, that's a nice little skill. It means you can Digivolve up a little bit more easily. Do remember, of course, that we do have that Hidden Potential Uncovered card, which will essentially allow you to Digivolve for free if you rest one of your Digimon. Do bear that one in mind. And then there are 2 other skills. When you Digivolve, you rest all of your opponent's Tamers. All of them. You rest them all. Here's the thing, though. There aren't that many Tamers that are going to work on your turn. Remember, you start your turn with the unsuspend phase, where you unsuspend all of your cards, Digimon, Tamers, etc. So, I mean, you're not often going to really be hurt by this. I mean, there are some Tamers around which will activate on your opponent's turn. So the Mimi Tachikawa from BT3, that if you or your opponent plays an option card, you can rest it and gain a memory. You could rest Mimi before you play an option card so your opponent doesn't gain a memory. There are a few cards out there that will activate on your turn, but most Tamers are very much kind of a your opponent's turn kind of thing. So I'm not terribly loving this. There are going to be very few Tamers it actually matters against. Most Tamers, you'll rest them and then it'll get to your opponent's turn and they'll unsuspend and it's just not going to matter. But wait, there's more. On both players' turn, all of your opponent's rested Tamers cannot be activated. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely huge. This makes a gigantic difference, because now all of a sudden, it's not really about resting your opponent's Tamers, it is about the fact they don't become unrested, they don't become unsuspended. And of course, because you're suspending all of them, and then they don't come activated, essentially what it means is you play Argomon and all of your opponent's Tamers are essentially turned off for the rest of the game, although they can play more, and if they play more, those ones obviously will not be turned off because they got played and they haven't been rested, etc. But then, of course, if they do get rested the first time they become suspended, they're now out of action. The thing is, we need to look here. It's not for every Tamer. So someone like Mimi Tachikawa, very much my favourite Tamer. It's one that I am a huge fan of. It's one that I play in all of my green decks. And what we see with Mimi is that if you have 2 or less memory, you can set your memory to 3 at the start of your turn. That is going to work. So even if Argomon comes out and suspends Mimi and then Mimi can't be unsuspended, I still get that memory. I don't have to be active for that to work, so we're fine. But if you've got a level 5 or higher Digimon in play, you may suspend this tamer to hatch a Digi-Egg, or move a level 3 or higher Digimon from your breeding area to your battle area, i.e. to give yourself an extra breeding phase. Well, all of a sudden, that's gone away. As soon as we end up seeing Argomon hit the field, Mimi is not going to work. You'll still get the memory from the first half of the card, but you won't get yourself that second breeding phase until you take out Argomon, at which point you will then unsuspend during your next unsuspend phase. But that's not exactly quick and easy to do. Argomon's a level 6 Digimon. It's not going to be the easiest one to take down. That is, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit annoying. Now, of course, there are plenty of tamers out there that are just not going to care. So in the Booster 1.0 format, there are a bunch of people playing around with Tai Kamiya. And again, at the start of your turn, it puts your memory to 3 if it's not already there. And on your turn, all of your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security attack +1. So this isn't going to matter. There's nothing there about resting, being active, being rested, etc. So it doesn't matter. Go for it. It's not going to affect every tamer. But some of them it will. I mean, I showed you Takumi Aiba the other day, and I said there are basically 2 parts to it. When you Digivolve, once during your turn, you may suspend this to draw a card. So as soon as Argomon's on the field, Takumi Aiba's not actually doing anything in terms of drawing, because will be suspended, can't become unsuspended. That drawing option has gone away for you now. But the second part, on both players' turns, level 3 Digimon gain when attacking, lose 1 memory. Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely okay. That will still absolutely work. So this does turn off tamers. That is absolutely true. But we need to be a little bit careful here. It turns off tamers that need to suspend in order to work, and it stops you using those skills, but any passive skills, and there are many tamers out there that either have passive skills or only have passive skills, they will be absolutely fine here. So do bear in mind, it's not for everybody. The fact of the matter is, though, it is a pseudo 2-costed Digivolve level 6, which is really good, and there are going to be those games where your opponent is relying on tamers. Like, if you're not playing Mimi, but your opponent is, and you can turn off their Mimi, that's going to give a huge advantage. Or if you get access to Mimi and they don't, that's going to be a huge advantage. If your opponent wants to use Aiba to draw, but all of a sudden they can't, that is going to give you a huge advantage. It is a very good example of what we refer to as a side deck card. Now, side decks aren't a thing in a Digimon TCG. I made a video all about it. I'll link it in the description. But the point is, if you can swap cards in and out from your side deck to your main deck between games, this is an Argomon where if your opponent is relying on tamers, would be great to tech in. Sometimes it's just going to be a 2 to Digivolve 11,000 power level 6 because your opponent isn't relying on tamers. And if that's the case, well, the other Argomon is a 2-cost to Digivolve level 6 11,000 power that gives you security attack +1 for every one of your other rested Digimon. So I cannot recommend it above that one. I'm going to give it 4 Wassies, but it's a very tentative 4 Wassies because it's good only really against some decks. It is a situational card, and on those situations, it is going to be immense. But outside of that, it's going to be a little disappointing. Now, there is one more Digimon we need to have a little bit of a look at today. So we did get a vanilla Digimon revealed on the Twitter. So let's take a very quick look at MoriShellmon. And I say a very quick look because I'm going to be totally honest with you, it's a vanilla Digimon, and unlike the Warumonzemon we looked at the other day, which I still contend is an amazing, like genuinely amazing card that's going to see a huge amount of play, this one I am not loving so much, unfortunately. It is a 6 cost to play normally, which makes it the joint most expensive level 4 we've seen in green, but it's a 2 cost to Digivolve. And when I've got stuff like Kabuterimon that is a 1 cost to Digivolve and has blocker, and then there's a whole bunch of others that are 1 cost to Digivolve like Vegemon, or Kabuterimon that's also got that really nice skill that gives you an extra 1000 power inheritable for each of your opponent's rested Digimon. The cost here does nothing for me. It's too expensive to play normally, and there are multiple one-cost Digimon that I really, really like. So there's going to need to be something in terms of skill, but there isn't. It's a vanilla Digimon. So it's going to have a whole bunch of power, and it's got 7,000. And 7,000 power is fine. It's high. I'll give you that. In fact, 7,000 power makes it the single most powerful level 4 green Digimon that we've seen so far. We have never seen a 7,000 power level 4 green Digimon, and I don't care. And as I've told you, my leaning is apparently towards green. It just kind of happened one day. I'm a green player. Which means that when I see green cards, I'm thinking about my particular pet decks, and there is absolutely no way I'm playing this in any of my green decks. I'm playing many, well, there's like 3 or 4 I've got on the go at the moment. The point is, I'm just not playing it. It's not happening. I don't care about 7,000 power. 7,000 power might be kind of high for green level 4s, but it's basically an average level 5, which is good. But as I've mentioned in a few videos, if I've got the power of an average level 5 and I attack the security, I'm expecting to be taken down by level 5s, level 6s, and level 7s. Or to put it another way, when I'm attacking the stack, I assume I'm getting destroyed. Now, if I'm playing a vanilla Digimon, I want one of two things. Either it is super cheap, I'm looking at you, Roachmon, or it is powerful enough that I can attack the stack with a realistic expectation of surviving. Because if I'm not expecting to survive when I attack the stack, who even cares about how much power I've got? I might as well have 1,000 power if I'm going to be deleted when I attack the stack. And that's my problem here. It's not cheap to play, it's not cheap to digivolve, it has no skill, and okay, fine, it is hands down, without exception or exaggeration, the single most powerful level 4 green Digimon we've seen so far, and yet that's not what we worry about, because you can take out resting level 4s and 3s, and yeah, fine, but when you attack the stack, you're probably going down anyway. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm giving this between 1 and 2 Wassies. When I give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. This is one of those very rare Digimon cards, and it is much rarer in Digimon than other card games, but this is one of those very rare Digimon cards that I look at, and I'm like, I'm not playing this. Like, no matter what deck I play, I'm not playing this card. This card is bad. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I don't like it. But, you know, I chugged it on the end of an Argomon video because I wanted to show you I do like to be a bit of a completionist, but I didn't want to spend much time on it. So let's just go back to Argomon, which, although situational, very nice card that I could see seeing a bunch of play. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassie Plays.